Welcome to Aging Flipped, where it's all about empowering women in their grandmotherhood years. Whether you're already a grandmother, hope to one day be a grandmother, or soon to be a grandmother, empowering you to overcome challenges and live your best life. My hope is by being here listening to this podcast, you leave more inspired and filled with the possibilities for this season of your life. I'm Debbie Talbert, your host. I'm a wife, a mom to four adults, a grandmother to five, a retired flight attendant turned professional life coach. If you are here to grow, I can help you. Let's go. Hey there, welcome back to the podcast. This is Aging Flipped, where it's all about women in your grandmotherhood years, current, soon to be, or hope to one day be. It's all about helping women in these years of our life come to reclaim their energy, rediscover your voice, and fuel your life with purpose. This is episode 115, which is part 5 of the 7-part Aging Flight Plan series. Right now, we're in the 5th part, which is the wings. Each episode has been giving you a high-level system overview of the Aging Flight Plan so you can get a bigger picture of how your brain, body, and spirit all work together to create your optimal longevity. That longevity where you are thriving and being in the experiences you want to be in because you're mentally and physically capable of doing that. And because you want to. With this episode, we're focusing on the wings. Today, that's the part we're going to be exploring because no matter how strong you are, no matter how capable you are, and no matter how independent you were never actually meant to fly solo. My own true story here is I'll admit it is challenging for me to ask for help. It's a work in progress. And who knows? It could be a work in progress the entire time I am here on planet Earth. Even after I stopped drinking, I still tried to do everything myself. I had changed my relationship with alcohol. I was taking care of my health in a better way, and I was learning more about myself because I was present all of the time instead of numbing out my brain with alcohol. And I had even helped others retrain their own brain. But the one change I was still struggling with was believing that there was something wrong with me if I needed to ask for help. It meant I wasn't strong enough. I had this mindset that I needed to figure it out all by myself. And that belief followed me around everywhere. P.S. Asking for help means there's something wrong with me as a person. And so that followed me around. It showed up in my marriage, in the connection and the closeness that I wasn't able to create because I wasn't allowing people in, but I wasn't allowing myself to receive what people wanted to give me. Because as humans, we do want to give help to others. We feel needed when someone asks us for help. It was also showing up in my business. I had gone from being an employee to this entrepreneurial world, and suddenly everything fell on me. The content, the tech, the finances, the marketing, coaching, selling, all of the things. And I thought that I needed to prove that I could do it all by myself. It turns out that was leading me into burnout and a lot of turbulence in my life. Then one day, a fellow coach, that I'm in a mastermind group with, she literally, it was very simple, but I was starting to open myself up to accepting help because accepting help is also allowing me to receive. And if I'm not willing to receive, I also won't be able to receive the financial return on investment that I wanted. So I was starting to learn all about that. And instead of brushing it off and telling her, no, don't worry, I got it, I'll figure it out. It was in that moment that I paused and I practiced my new skill. Yes, I would love for you to help me. And I noticed that my breath was calmer. My breath was not as hesitant within my own chest. My shoulders began to relax. Instead of being up here at the top of my ears, they relaxed and went down, and my nervous system even began to clench itself. And in that moment, that small yes of letting someone else help me is when I started to open up more to getting help. So here inside the Aging Flipped on the podcast, and then also inside the playground where I really go deep inside teaching the whole entire flight plan, along with the one-on-one private coaching that I do. The wings represent internal support and external support. Your internal wings, your mindset around receiving help and releasing perfectionism. Then the external wings are the people, tools, and the systems that keep you in the air during the turbulent times of life and the joyful times of life. It's the tools, the people, and the systems that you put into place. Notice it's a flight plan because I'm bringing in my crew life and my flight attendant life in the work that I do. No aircraft flies without wings. And our brains don't thrive without backup. We as humans and as women don't thrive without allowing others to help us. Support isn't weakness. Support is actually your aerodynamics when you're thinking about it in that way. I want to open you up a little bit to what might, for you, what might support look like. And here's a little bit around what your wings might look like. So there's emotional support. That's when you can be real with someone and be your whole true self, where you're not feeling like you need to perform in some way or be different you than you. I want you to be you. This is when you get to be the most you, right? That's where you're really being able to be real, your perfectly imperfect self. And you're not performing in any way. That's emotional support. Then there's mental support. That can be things like coaching, structure, reflection tools such as journaling or workflows that you put into place for yourself to support your homeostasis and yourself mentally. There's also physical support. So physical support might be things like if you have younger children still in the home or that need help and support from you, like child care or elder care for someone in your life that needs support, and letting yourself reach out and get elder care to help with that person in your life that's not able to totally care for themselves. That might be support with your meals, allowing resources and tools and outsourcing some of the meal prep, even getting pre-planned meals. I know for myself, for the practical support here in the meals, as I'm working on the fuel part for myself, I actually use a company called Ideal Nutrition, and the meals, I order them online. They're delivered right to my house on Sundays, and I have the meals already set up, prepped in the refrigerator, and they're ready to go. It first took opening up to accepting help, because I also always had this thought and this false belief that women are supposed to cook. Yet, it was evidence all over my kid's life, because even my son, when he went off to college, one of his comments was, "I won't be missing the home cooking." And I was not offended because I personally never cared for cooking. However, I did it because we needed food to fuel and nourish our bodies. I have learned by letting myself receive help, how can I get the kind of nutrition I want in a way that works best for me at this season of my life. And now having these meals, they're healthy meals. They go based on dietary restrictions, however you want to design that with them. That get them on. I order them on Wednesdays. I get them delivered on Sundays, and it works out beautifully for me. My husband loves it also. And there isn't, in my house, there's not wasted food, because me attempting to cook things and destroying it and it not coming out and tasting very well, we were throwing away a lot of food. There's also practical support in the sense of tech help. You're asking people to help you with tech needs. They're practical support in the sense of errands. The other type of support can look like spiritual support. This can be asking people to pray for you or to send you positive energy, depending on your spirituality. It can also be having quiet time for yourself and allowing yourself the gift of reflection. It can also be your faith community, whatever that looks like for you. The last one is reciprocal support. This is where help flows back and forth. like in the circumstance with the coach that I was allowing to support me, she asked if she could help me. She genuinely wanted to help me. I allowed her the gift of being able to help by giving myself the gift of receiving her help. And that's where the reciprocal kind of support is. It's flowing back and forth in both ways. If you're really trying to do it all yourself, it makes total sense why that might be your practiced behavior because of what we've all been taught. Remember that, I don't know if you're in my age group and you're listening here or watching me here on YouTube or listening on the podcast, you more than likely remember that commercial for the perfume. I can bring home the bacon, fry it up in the pan, and never let you forget you're a man. You remember that commercial? Those kinds of things in that jingle is conditioned and brought into your brain. And even though you maybe not necessarily buy into believing the whole entire thing, but yet you heard it over and over and over and over again through the commercials via television, on those commercials over and over again, you began to think. And also the visual that's in there, you begin to think, and because she was dressed up and frying stuff in the pan, right? And she's all sexy and dressy in high heels in the kitchen. You begin to think that's your role. That's how I got that belief that I should be the one cooking by all the different television shows that were on as I was growing up. And so all of that stuff becomes like a blueprint. And you begin to think that something's gone wrong if you're not able to handle anything. You need to ask for help. I have a client that I've been working with in the beginning, when she was first learning how to navigate this and design her wings. She said that she didn't really like asking for help with her mother's care. She was really struggling to ask for help while managing caring for her mother, even though she was working full time and still had children in the house. But she struggled with asking for help with that care because in her mind, even if that meant for her that it was skipping things like sleep, canceling plans, and then she would be quietly crying in her car because she thought this is just what good daughters do. It was that thought, this is what good daughters do, that was getting in her way of actually supporting herself and her mom. And that was draining her. It was impacting her health. It was impacting her mood. It was impacting her ability to be present with her own kids and grandkids. But what enabled her to shift this is what I have what's called a climb sequence. And she began to journal on that. And she slowly began to climb her way toward a new and more supportive thought. So at first, the one that was keeping her grounded and stuck was, I should be able to do this on my own. Then she found her first altitude shift where she was able to climb up just a little bit. And she shifted it simply by first opening herself up to a question. What if letting someone else help isn't letting anyone down? From there, she was able to map out one thought at a time and climb her way up towards being able to believe and genuinely believe it within her heart and her soul. Letting someone help is actually the best for everyone involved. Each phase through climbing up and journaling and shifting her altitude of thinking started to shift everything for her. Now she believes and sees how she's building this legacy of interdependence. She's teaching her own children and grandchildren the power and the benefit of letting yourself receive help and asking for help. So all of that has been able to change what goes on in her entire household, from making that gradual altitude shift of her thinking. Let's take a moment, and what I want to encourage you to do is to really reflect on your own life. Where in your life are you flying solo? And is it starting to show in giving you a return on investment that you now don't like and that you would like to be different? Really just opening yourself up to being curious about that. The second thing I want you to reflect on and get curious about is what kind of support for you would feel like relief, and open yourself up and see what happens. And then as you're doing that, maybe even getting curious, like what kind of support might feel like relief, practicing asking for help in other ways outside of the main thing you're thinking about. It could be sending a text to someone. It could be simply just asking the question for help and practicing that. Or it could also be noticing around you the people that do ask for help and when they're asking for help, what's actually going on? What is your brain telling you in that moment? And what are you noticing from the other people that the help is being asked of and the one that is receiving the help? Just letting yourself get really curious about that. So if this episode of the podcast stirred something within you, and if you're tired of being the one to hold it all together yourself, whether it's at home, at work, in your mind, I want to encourage you to check out agingflip.com/easier. It's just a short form that you can fill out. It's no pressure. And we'll be able to find out the next steps on how we can take what you're learning here in the podcast and bring it further into real life action. I will see you on the next episode. Thank you for spending time with me today. If today's episode stirred something in you, if you've been circling your own someday desire, it's time to bring it out of that long-term parking lot and back into your view. Join me inside the playground. This is the community where grandmothers, current, soon to be, or someday hope to be, are building strength, self-trust, and a future you're excited to live. Tap on the link in the show notes or head over to agingflip.com/coaching. You get all the details over there. I just want you to know this is the exact right time for you. I'll see you next time.